Edition 2 of Season 18 of One Up Racing. We are Ram Kanda, and I am joined by my co-commentator today, Liam. How are you, mate?
I'm absolutely delighted to be back. It's, well, position tier 1 for again, so, well, you'd know that but let's get the show on the road and see what these guys can do tonight.
Definitely. I'm really looking forward to this. We saw a really entertaining pre-season race. I'm sure you'd agree on that. Round Britain Short, we saw plenty of battles all over the track, and we didn't know really where to look. And going into round one, it's interesting because if you read some of the drivers' press conferences before the race, a few saying, namely, Key and a few more, saying that these, Martin as well, saying these are not the strongest track for them. That's probably the weakest on the calendar for them. So it'll be interesting to see how they cope with today coming into round one, because obviously you need to get underway, you need to get the best possible start you can, because it's going to be so competitive, I'm sure. I mean, what are your thoughts about the race?
I can understand why people don't like Canada that much. It's quite a tricky track to get the hand of, especially if you're not on the wheel with the numerous chicanes around this track. It is very easy to pick up corner cutting penalties or just invalidations in qualifying, but it can also provide some good racing with plenty of overtaking spots, especially the hairpin at the end of the second sector and the left-hander towards at the end of the first sector, with a few others else dotted around the track, like turn one and maybe even the last chicane if you're brave enough to try and get past someone with the wall of champions staring you in the face.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting, because obviously with track limits as well, I think we may see a few drivers trying to avoid penalties as much as they possibly can today, because obviously penalties will cost you massively, and it could all be won due to track limits at the end of the day. So that's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, you had your race earlier, and how did that go for track limits?
Certain drivers were struggling with track limits and others weren't, so I think it's really down to how much practice you've put in and how well you know the circuit. That is definitely a big player in the amount of penalties you get. So if you know how much you can get away with cutting a certain corner, then you're less likely to get a penalty than someone else who's not really putting the practice, like a couple of time trial laps maybe.
I think that will be the big question coming into this, how much practice the drivers have put in and how much they've developed from the pre-season race to now, because they've sized each other up. We saw the pre-season, some fantastic racing. We saw drivers we perhaps expected to be at the front, and some that we didn't. A Salty Bear, my driver today, drove through the field. I mean, could we say that today? Do you think, Mount Canada, is it possible to drive through the field?
It is possible, because like I said, there's plenty of overtaking spots, so it's not a track that discourages you from battling with others. So, and for the high likelihood of a safety car in, considering how close some of the barriers are, then I think we're in for a thrilling race. Sorry.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like we've seen in real life as well, examples where people can drive through the field. So just because perhaps you haven't had the best qualifying doesn't mean you can't pick up valuable points today. And I think to touch on that, we do have two drivers with qualifying bans, I believe, today, due to, I think one was, I know Martin's was obviously the pre-season race, and Riley's, I believe, was with the incorrect number.
Yeah, Riley ran the incorrect number during quali night, I believe. So that's resulted in him getting a quali ban this evening. So we've got two guys Martin was one of the front runners last week in the pre-season race. So we've got one of our front runners starting from the back of the grid, and Riley was up there as well until he got a bit unlucky and had to come together with Nick's Mercedes. So we've got two pacey drivers near the back of the field, but it's an incredibly close field, so it can go any way tonight, really.
Definitely, like you said, it can go anywhere. We can definitely expect some twists and turns coming into this round one. Definitely going to be an interesting tier. It's so close, so close. And can we see that reflected in qualifying the race today? Just a quick word for the One Hub sponsors. One Hub is partnered with Next Level Racing, Freem, Vespertine, ERT. And yeah, so just thanks to them for sponsoring OneUp and just making this all possible, because without them, OneUp just simply wouldn't be as amazing and give as many opportunities it does to drivers. And I think we are going to see that today, drivers try and take their opportunities. Perhaps they didn't have the best pre-season race, but now it's time to redeem themselves coming to round one where it all counts, don't you think, Liam?
Yeah, definitely. You want to put the pre-season race behind you and just focus on the season now. You've had your warm-up race, now is when it matters, so it's time to get the head down for everybody and really go for it now if you're wanting to have a chance of that title.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm not sure about you, but I'm not sure who to expect to see at the front tonight, because perhaps we saw some people that we were expecting. I mean, Britain Short is such an odd track, to be honest. It's a weird track, and I think it reflected in some people perhaps that didn't put into practice. They were a bit caught off guard by Britain Short, but obviously with Canada it's been done plenty of times before, and these drivers will have experience around Canada, so they've got to make it count today, and hopefully we'll see a variety of people battling for the podiums come the end of the race. We saw it in Britain Short. We could not tell who was going to win that race, and it was a fantastic race, that pre-season race around Britain Short. So there is, fingers crossed, to something similar to that tonight, and we are definitely in with a complete and utter masterclass in the precision tier, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. One thing from last week I'd like to touch upon is hopefully everybody remembers the mandatory two-stop rule. I'm looking at Martin in the Williams, who I think he might have forgot last week that it was a two-stop, but since it is the pre-season race, we're all allowed to make mistakes, so I'm hoping that he remembers the two-stop rule for this week, and he isn't disqualified for not pitting enough.
Yeah, I mean, with Martin, he got himself in such a good position, but then he didn't put on the safety car, and I spoke to him afterwards, and it was just an innocent mistake, but obviously picked up the qualifying ban for tonight, so hopefully we will see Martin. I think we can both say he's going to be up there, or thereabouts, come the end of the season, so that'll be interesting to see what he can do from the back tonight. Definitely one to watch out for. But coming into qualifying now, it's definitely going to be interesting. Sorry, I just cut across you there, Liam. Carry on.
It's not a problem. I was going to say, yeah, definitely. I was going to say, Martin's. Well, I'd expect him to be near the front again in terms of pace, but with all the dirty air from the cars in front of him, especially starting at the back of the grid, it is going to be a problem, and we'll see how long his tyres can last with constant dirty air and that understeer plaguing him for most of the race.
Yes, it's a tough one, this, on tyres, and with the mandatory two-stop, I think that will make it a lot closer, but safety cars aren't uncommon round here, but it's good to see a guy that I know very well back tonight, Payne's dead. He's a fantastic driver, and he has won round here before, so definitely watch out for him. He didn't do qualifying night, I believe, so it's sorry, not qualifying night, pre-season race. He didn't do the pre-season race, so he's here tonight, and it's definitely one to watch out for. He's definitely on pace, but it's raining! It's raining! The heavens have opened around Canada, and this may change the course of qualifying.
I think we're going to have to wait and see what happens in the race in terms of weather. I'm going to have a quick look in the chat to see what people are saying, if you want me to spoil the surprise.
Is there any word? Any word
Nope.
on?
Nope, it's a wet race, I think.
You're joking.
I think we could be in for a wet race here in Canada, so it could be 2011 light rain in both sessions, so we're in for a Canada 2011 situation here.
This is gonna be exciting. Wet race round Canada. I think we've got one driver out on track at the minute. It is Payne's the first driver out on the inters. I think it's two, unless it dries up. The track's just gonna be so wet, and you can see this is, yeah, definitely into conditions, but Payne's out on track at the minute, the only driver to do so. Didn't do the pre-season race. Perhaps just getting the lap in early, making sure he doesn't invalid, just get that banker under his belt and then go from there. But Wow, a wet race and a wet quali as well. This is going to be certainly interesting because perhaps drivers didn't practice the wet as much as they practiced the dry, which is, of course, is, you know, I think people always expect it to be a dry race, but now that it is wet, I think that's a big equaliser, Liam.
Yeah, but I've spoke to, well, I've heard from other from drivers in this tier, especially Nick. He says, I believe it's on the day of the race, he loads up a practice lobby with the rain, just so he can get some practice in. So Nick does like to get his practice in the wet conditions, so I imagine his teammate Dane will be also involved in that. So could it be 2 race wins in a row for Dane?
That's the question, of course. Dane, who was very, very impressive in that pre-season race, but Paynes has really pushed it around the ball of champions there. He made a bit of contact with the ball, but he's managed to keep his front wing intact. Starting his lap now, attacking the first few curbs here. Really, a little wobble though, and you can just see that car really, really wobbling. That rear end just wants to step away constantly from Paynes, and who is the race premium driver, of course, in the Williams today. So it's good to see him on the track, but it is wobbling for him, that car, in the first sector. Coming into sector 2 now, he's just going to be making the car is just more sure, but look at the wheel now. He's nearly lost it. In fact, he nearly lost the car there, and he's managed to keep it just on track.
Yeah, it's going to be a few laps before these guys get to grips with the circuit, but the good thing is about wet qualifying is you don't just go on the one set of tyres, do one lap, then come in. You're out for, I don't know, you do a couple of laps, maybe a lap or 2 in a row, but you come out for like a good few laps just to get some rubber down on the circuit, really. And warm your tyres before you really push for your flying lap. So it's not the same as a dry lobby where it's just out on one set of tyres, one lap or 2, then come in. It's out for a few laps to really warm up the tyres before going for a flying lap, as Paynes sets the fastest lap so far for 1:19.1. Who else is on a lap? I believe Nick is also on a lap here, as well as teammate Dane. So you'll have to keep an eye on these guys. Looking at the track map, almost everybody's out on track at the moment, as Verheeren in the Haas goes second for 1:20.5.
So interesting there, big split, but obviously Paynes, his car, there's definitely a lot of time, and like you said, it's interesting because they're going to be doing a heavier fuel runs to get more laps in, so that the inters grip up, and then when the track comes down. But Nick, like you were saying before, just setting a lap now, and it is tidy in the World Champions. Danestar, the pre-season winner, is setting 18.1, and he's comfortably gone provisional pole there by a whole second, but Nick slots into third just behind Paynes and ahead of the Heinen, the ERT driver. So nice from the 2 Mercedes straight away, Liam.
Yeah, very impressive. Impressed with both Mercedes drivers at the moment. Having a look further down the field, I believe Reflow is on a flying lap in the Red Bull, and he's just invalidated going through the chicane at the end of sector 2.
That's a tough one. It is very, very possible as Don de Boer sets his lap, the Red Bull driver. So interesting splits there. Riley in, so that's good to see. Obviously, he does have that qualifying ban, of course. Yeah. Martin is out on track. Hopefully,
setting a lap time as well. When you have a quality ban, you're allowed to go out and, you know, just do a lap, go round once, come back in at the pits just to load your setup for the race. But he's setting a lap time at the moment, so he's been out for at least a lap now. So I'm not sure what's happened there. Maybe he's forgotten that he's only meant to do the one lap and not actually set a lap time. As Danestar goes even quicker with 1:18.0. So just going back to the qualifying times, Rimpey and Quays, or Chris, have both dipped into the 1:18 for 1:17 and a 1:18.7 and a 1:18.6.
Yeah, that is really interesting there. A few drivers now entering the 118s, but Danestar with nearly dipping into the 117s. Look really impressive so far. Key slots in 4th with another time in the 118s. Nice lap there for Key SF1. But it was obviously a race premium driver. But Reflow now in the Red Bull, he's on a lap. He's gone deep out the chicane, which is very, very easy to do in the wet. But yeah, I mean, can we see anyone match Danestar, do you think? It's a big ask.
I don't think it is. We've still got 11 minutes to go in this quality session. I doubt anyone's really really pushing it that hard at the moment. Just having a look for Martin, I believe has come into the pits.
Good.
So he's not set a lap time.
Well, that's good.
So he'll be still serving his lap. He'll still be serving his quality ban at the moment. As Lukey is on a lap in the Alfa Romeo. Somebody who's not had the best of luck recently, Lukey, I have to say. He's struggled quite a bit. He's not quite had the pace last season, and he wasn't very competitive last week either. Just in and around that midfield battle.
Well, I hope Lukey, you know, he's definitely got the pace in him, and he does set a pole sets too, Lukey, so we can't write him off for sure. But yeah, I mean, just to touch on something that I've noticed, the rain has stopped. The rain has stopped, so as the track dries up, I think we could potentially see drivers now start to opt for the dry tyres, because although there is still swears you can visibly see on Lukey's front right, but he's gone deep there and validated, and he's touched the wall. What would it have been? It looked tidy, and it was a 19.1, so he would have just slotted in around 9th. But he's lucky to not have lost the front wing there, but it definitely looks like it's drying up. I mean, when do you...
and Behanen both into the 18.5s there, so... The times are tumbling at the moment, but it certainly looks to be drying out, but we don't know if it will be dry enough for the slicks towards the end of the circuit.
It's going to be, if a driver gets that right, it's going to be looking like pole, surely. I mean, it's all about timing now. As the track dries, as Croatia sets an 18.3, so like you said, the lap times are really tumbling, so if you're Danestar, you have to get his timing right, because it's clearly not dry enough, as you can see from the spray off the tyres. But all the drivers out at the minute. I want to see where the drivers who are coming out now are opting and what tyre they're on, because it is certainly drying up, as Paint is improving by 2/10 in the first sector here. Set a fantastic sector 2, in fact, a purple sector 2 for Paint here. Paint could really snatch pole from Danestar as it stands with 8 minutes left. Little slide to the rear, but he's managed to control it beautifully, Paint, and he's speeding towards, and DRS has been enabled, and as he's hit the DRS marker, so DRS enabled, this will mean the laps improve again. So drying up, Paint's into the pits, he's aborted that, well, what would have been pole, and that is definitely going to be on the slicks for him now. And we've already seen, I think, yeah, Pricey's out on the softs. Martin is opted for soft, he can't come out the pit, so of course. Tom A also opting for soft, so drivers are now going for the soft tyre.
Yeah, I believe Tom was called into the drivers' press conference this week, where, well, which, if you're new here, is basically where the drivers get grilled. One driver from each tier gets picked to get absolutely roasted by in their media day. And yeah, well, Tom was asked, with 10 finishes and 4 of those being points finishes, have you got your feet wet in this league now, and can we expect more from you this season?
Well, that's going to be Tommy's objective, I think, coming into this season. It's just going to be, like you said there, he scored 4 points finishes, and it's below half, so I think coming into this season, he's going to want to get it into the 6 or 7 margin. I know that he's more than capable of doing it. but he's just got to demonstrate it, especially starting here tonight, where, like we were talking about before, a lot of drivers, this isn't their favourite tracks. Some are saying this is their weakest track, so you got to capitalise on that, and you just got to work with other. You got to capitalise on people's weaknesses, of course. I think that's what it's all about. That's what racing's about. Like, just getting yourself and capitalising on people's weaknesses and just making the most of it, as there's a massive lockup for White and who is on a soft run at the minute. Be interesting to see what his lap time is, because it's the first one, and there's a massive slide at the front there for White Fountain, so it is dry enough, but perhaps if the drivers have a wet setup on, obviously with light rain to be expected during the race, it's not going to be optimum for this dry conditions, Liam.
Yeah, well, definitely, but also the fact is that the track isn't really going to be rubbered in for the soft tyres, so all the grip that was there will have been washed away by the rain, really. So they've got to re-establish that line, that grippy line on the track for them to follow, as Pricey puts it on pole for now with a 1 minute 13.3.
That is, yeah. So, like you're saying,
looking back through the field, we have Rimpe, who is not on a flying lap. The Paint is on a flying lap, though, I believe. So we'll keep an eye on him. He's just coming to the end of Sector 1 now. He's breaking into the first chicane. As Toma goes fastest just now for 12.5. Payne's is sliding all over the place just now. Struggling to keep that Williams under control for now. Looking further back, we have Nick coming down the back straight towards the chicane, and he's going to be braking now, getting it just right, going to be getting close to that world champion, just scraping the paint off of the barrier there, up towards the line, and it's fastest for Nick with a 12.0.
What a lap that is for Nick. I mean, he's really established that. As Paint has picked up a pole sector 2, but there's a slide at the front there, losing the rear as well. So the car just always seems to be getting away. But Lukey's done one better. He's set a 111.7. So that's a fantastic lap for Lukey. We're just talking about how great Nick's lap was, but Lukey doing one better. But what is Payne's lap now? Probably one of the...
Star goes purple sector 1.
No, Paynes has now put it on pole. You're saying Danestar's on a lap. Let's go on board with the Mercedes driver. 2.5 seconds up in sector 1. I think it was purple, like you said. Now
coming to the end of the sector 2 split. What will it be? It's going to be another purple sector for Danestar here. And the chicane, a little bit of a lock-up as Martin returns from the session. He is going to get the toe off his teammate, so that looks to have been planned very strategically from the Mercedes boys now. Nick's gonna pull off and out of the way of his teammate now, surely, as Danestar breaks into the last chicane, just hitting the inside curve, not getting close to the world champions. Foot down towards the line, it's a 1:10.0.
What a lap that was for Danestar. Fantastic from the Mercedes.
Only about 3 tenths clear of the Red Bull behind him now, so Dundermore's looking quick in the Red Bull.
Definitely. I mean, that is definitely going to be a battle to watch out for. Can Don match Danestar, the preseason winner? But Dane, what a lap that was. Perfectly executed as well from the Mercedes of Nick and Dane, giving each other... Well, Nick gave Dane slip all the way.
AlphaTauri has put it up into 4th. Is anyone on a lap right now? I'm not too sure. I think Quays might be gearing up for another flying lap here, or maybe about to start his flying lap, so keep an eye on the Ferrari man down in 13th. But a Salty Bear is also going through turn 1 in the Renault now. He started his flying lap, so he's another one to look out for, going through the first chicane and towards the sector 1 split. It's a purple sector 1 for Salty Bear.
It's a fantastic sector 1 for Salty Bear. Can he now do it for the rest of the lap? He's got to hook this up now with the time ticking away. 2 minutes 25 on the clock now. Not long left in this qualifying session. So far, Danestar is invalidated, but Scorpion's got pole. Scorpion has done a 109.9, so he's the first driver to dip into the 109s. Scorpion, the Ferrari driver, has outbeaten Danestar there so far. So Dane, he's going to react to it, you'd assume. He's still in the pits at the minute. He's going to probably be really wanting that pole though. Is anyone else on a lap? I think you mentioned Quater's on a lap.
Yeah, he is on a lap in the Ferrari 3.2 seconds up on his lap. Sector 2 splits, a purple sector 2 for Quiz in the Ferrari. Gets a nice run and good exit out of the hairpin now. We're going to fly up the back straight. Can Ferrari make it a front row lockout here? This is going to be his only lap now on the softs, because he won't have enough time to get in and back out. So he's going through the last chicane. Absolutely nails the last chicane. No traction issues whatsoever. Up towards the line. It's a 1 minute 9.2, and it's pole at the moment for Quiz, as Dane and Don de Boer are both on their outlaps now. So the shootout for pole isn't over yet. As Corey in the Renault is coming to start his flying lap, and Salty Bear is halfway around his final lap of the session. It's a purple sector 2 for Salty Bear, but he locks up and goes deep into the hairpin. As we've got yellow flags in sector 2 currently, that'll just be people moving out of each other's way. But Salty Bear coming up the back straight now. He's going to break into the last chicane. He's going to have to get as close to the wall of champions as he dares now on the exit. Absolutely flies through the chicane, up to the line. What is it going to be? It's P3 as a reflow puts it in to P2 in the Red Bull with a 109.6.
Watch Rimp's at a purple sector 1. So down 15th at the minute. What can he do? Pulls it across the line. It's provisional pole for Rimp. He's made it count when he needs it most. And 108.9. Can Danestar have a response to this now? Or even Don? Don's up at the minute, but he's touched the wall. Don's got contact. I don't know whether there's damage on Don's car. I have seen, I think it may have been of M plate fly in the back there. But Don now at the purple sector 1. The Red Bull driver. He was fantastic, you know, matching Danestar earlier, but now he sees Rimp's 108.9. He's going to be absolutely gunning to beat that. He's really pulling that car now. Is it going to be purple sector 2? It is indeed a purple sector 2. He's going to have that slip of pains as well. What will it be for Don? He's really going to be up there, you'd assume, unless he gets it all wrong now. Coming into the wall of champions in the chicane. He's now got the DRS wide open. Absolutely slamming it down the straight. That red light for low fuel blinking away. This is his final run. He's got to make it count now. Down 8 at the minute. Got to take it as close as he can. He skims the bit of contact there on the rear. What's it going to be for Don? He's really pulling it across the line. It's a provisional pole by 9/10 as it stands. Where's Danestar?
He's coming up the back straight now into the chicane. So he's going to have this absolutely nailed on here, and he does. Great run through the chicane, flies up towards the line. What's it going to be for Danestar? It's P2.
Second.
Don de Boer takes pole at the moment, provisionally, as Rimpey moves up the fifth.
Oh, what a lap from White
everybody. What a dramatic qualifying session that was.
Oh my, what an end to qualifying. Don has put it on pole, but I think there was a few drivers there on Inters who, they only set one run because they just kept invalidating the track limits like we were talking about. You know, they've come in there. I mean, there is qualifying. Don has stuck it on pole. What a lap it was for him, beating out Danestar by nearly 2/10 there. But Dane on the second row will be absolutely gunning now. Won the pre-season race and will want to win round 1. Verheyen, who lost it in the pre-season race, he was really up there, is put it on the second row, and just behind him is Nick. Fantastic result for the ERT driver there. Just behind him, Rimp in the Alfa Romeo. Really close though, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of drivers here that are more than capable of winning this race, but there's also drivers at the back. If we scroll down, you know, you see Corey, the ERT driver, Martin, Riley, both didn't set times, but Key as well didn't manage to set a soft run. Perhaps that was due to track limits. He's definitely out on track, and he tried to set a soft run, but he didn't complete it in the end. But this is definitely going to be hotting up going into this race, Liam.
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of drama on the first lap, to be sure, and maybe the following laps, but we're going to have to pay attention going into turn 1 now as to what exactly goes on. And it's a wet start, but we do not know if it is going to dry up towards the end of the race or not.
This is going to be interesting. We saw it go light rain to fully dry at the, I think it was as basically fully dry at the end of qualifying there. So coming into this race, if the rain does stop, that transition period is going to be absolutely crucial. You've got to get it perfectly right. We saw drivers get it perfectly right in qualifying, need to now do it in the race. A lot of drivers now will be really wanting that round 1 victory. Verheinen's going to want to make up for his pre-season mistake where he dropped it into the wall. You described it as Romain Grosjean. I said George Russell. He's really going to be like Lewis Hamilton today, and he wants to put it from 3rd and beat out Dainstar and Don, who is probably, I think Dainstar arguably his favourite, but Don beating him so far. And we're just going to get the formation lap underway here. Don's going to lead us away. This is really exciting though, Liam.
Yeah, I'm expecting some sort of drama into turn 1. Canada is quite a hot spot for some turn 1 action. It is a good overtaking spot if you get a good enough run through that final chicane, as well as up here in this chicane if you're on board with Dainstar or Don DeBoer. And then basically this whole first sector is filled with some good overtaking spots. And here we go, the left-hander at the end of the sector 1, the dramatic spot in 2011 where Seb Vettel went wide and gifted Jenson Button the race win towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of overtaking. You've already mentioned it plenty of times through qualifying. There's lots and lots of overtaking opportunities. So, I mean, for me, it's all about starts. In the wet conditions, that can bring very unpredictable starts. So, if the likes of even like Rimp or Nick get a better start than drivers ahead of them, they're going to beat them to the apex in the first corner. And that is crucial because it gives you a really nice run going into 3 and 4. So, the start, like you mentioned, is going to be really important as we're about to get underway in just a few seconds time. Don in that car sliding all over the track, just trying to get some heat into those tyres just so we can get the best possible start.
He might want to back off a bit. He's got quite the gap to Dainstar behind, who really looks like the pack leader at the moment in Dainstar. Don DeBoer off in the distance. Dainstar really trying to get as big of an advantage as he can here.
That is, yeah, it's interesting that Don has allowed there to be such a gap. How much of it is Don being fast or Dainstar being slow? I'm not quite sure, but you did that is an interesting point which you picked up on. Like, that's a significant gap. So Don's tyres will be a lot slower, colder than some of the guys behind him, because he's going to have to just wait that extra bit longer. It's not actually too bad. In the end, because the AI's caught him up a little bit, but we're just going to wait for the lights to turn on here. This round 1, it's going to be exciting, it's going to be dramatic, but we'd expect nothing less from One Hub Season 18. Round 1 round Canada, as the lights turn on here. Don going to get us underway. We're just going to wait for the lights. 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4 lights, 5 red lights, and away we go for the season opener. So like Don has got a decent start. He's just ahead of Dainstar, but behind. He's had a slow start there. Can Nick beat him coming into the turn? He tries to. Nick's gone deep. Nick's gone very deep. He's going to have to rejoin. He's pushing Rimp all the way. There's more contact at the back. That's an AlphaTauri running really far wide. I'm not sure what's happened there. Nick's had to go really deep, and he's hit someone at the back. I mean, Quace's AI is somehow here. I'm not quite sure what's happening. I think there's a bit of a glitch going on, but there's a full course safety car. What is going on, Liam?
I think Nick's had a bit of an issue trying to go around the outside of Verheijen into turn 1, and he's been squeezed and lost the back end. So on the exit of turn 2, he's been shoved out wide, and everybody's tried to drive around him and realised there's a Mercedes blocking the track, so they've really had nowhere to go. So I think that's caused a bit of a pile-up, which hence led to the safety car.
That's a bizarre call for a full course safety car, but now it's whether... I mean, look at Quace. He's gone from 9th on the grid to 4th within 2 corners. So what a start it was for the Ferrari driver. Nick had to go really deep there. He went for the move on Verheijen, and Verheijen broke later than Nick. So Nick tried to get a switchback done, but he went really deep in these wet conditions. And I think that forced quite a few drivers off track. I saw a AlphaTauri of White Fountain go really deep as the drivers make the most of the safety car, pitting early. It's mandatory 2-stop, of course. So a lot of drivers pitting early. I think that is a Mercedes staying out, though. It is Nick staying out, and also I think that's Reflow as well. Reflow sticking out. I mean, what would you do, Liam?
I think it's a smart move to get off your worn enters from quality. Well, actually, no, most of them will be on fresh tyres as well, so I think it's just the guys who might have a bit of damage, or they think they can get on an alternate strategy, because I don't think the tyre wear for the intermediates is that bad around here. So getting one stop out of the way early means more track position for them, really, in the long run, but it's going to let the other guys have the tyre advantage over them.
Yeah, that's an interesting point there. Only 4 drivers chose to stay out. I mean, they, like you said, they're gonna if they're gonna do a 2-stop now, they're gonna have to go ridiculously long on this middle stint. You'd assume, well, it is technically a middle stint because they've already pitted, but the 3-stop I definitely think is opened up now. But Don has had a really nice start and has now Dainstar's dropped back behind Verheyen. I wonder whether that was due to a front wing change or just simply him getting held up in the pit. So Verheyen is through past Dainstar now. Quays, after that fantastic start, just sitting behind Dainstar, probably one of the favourites. Martin up in 16th and having pit as well, so that's interesting. But the ERT driver of Nick, you'd assume, gets underway. Hopefully next lap, let's just wait for another ERT driver of Corey just to catch up. But what start that was, Liam.
Yeah, chaotic start, just like I called it in the in qualifying in the formation lap as Thomas into the pit, so another driver getting the pit stop out of the way early. But looking through the field, I think when we get back underway it's going to be interesting to see the guys who have stopped compared to the guys who haven't. So what the advantage is going to be for them, I'm not too sure, because all of these guys should have fresh intermediates, but I do believe an intermediate Canada 50% race is normally a 1-stop, I believe. You may have to correct me on that, but it would just normally be a 1-stop from one set of inters to the other, so these guys are really just effectively making it a 1-stop for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because if it is a 1-stop, and what the game says, well, why wouldn't you pit now? I mean, Nick clearly has an idea in his head. He's made a strategy call, and he's going to be going for that. It's different, and perhaps different is good, but it's risky for Nick, definitely.
Safety car is in this lap. I think Nick could be playing for his teammate here and maybe backing up the field for his teammate Dane, who's down in 7th at the moment, so maybe the Mercedes boys playing interesting on the strategy at the moment.
Yep, they're going to have to work together if they're going to want constructors, but Nick, when will he go? This is going to be interesting. He's going to have to go soon, you'd assume, and it's probably going to be after the chicane now, and as he...
you want to go about now. This is where you want to get the foot down.
Oh, he's gone late. He's gone very late.
Leaving it as late as possible here. But if it was me, I would have left it until basically the last chicane. But he has done it smartly.
Oh.
Sneaky restart, and he does get the gap. And Reflow and his teammate Don de Boer are having a bit of a scrap now for turn 1 and 2 as Paynes is past Don de Boer. Well, momentarily until Don de Boer sweeps back round on the outside line, but Reflow offline a bit there. His teammate is close behind. There's
yellow flags, but they're going too wide there. I did see. I think that was quite some but there's more yellow flags. And is that a Salty Bear? Is no damage for the Renault, but he's going to have to catch up to Corey now, who is his teammate, of course. But Renault's off to a poor start, but Paynes is past. What a move that was! From Paynes getting past Don there, and Don, he's had a really poor exit. He's going to have to defend from behind. White Fountain too far back to get any moves done there. You see behind in the background as well. Dainstar just behind him, but they're going too wide. I've seen that in the back. Quays and Dainstar going side by side still, and I think they've got to give each other mutually room, but they are bashing each other all the way here. Dainstar and Quays still going side by side. Quays just tucking him behind Dainstar for now. He's going to want to get the move done as soon as he can. Dainstar moving to the side, trying to get the better line, and he has. So Quay's still behind, but great battling between two of them.
Yeah, great battle down the straight there. As we'll have a look down the field if there's any battles at the moment. It doesn't quite look at it as there's a slow car.
Oh, he's hit the wall.
Chicane, and it is Vitinho. I'm not quite sure what's happened to the Alpha Tower there, but he was going very slowly through the last chicane. I think he made a bit of contact with Pricey maybe, who's in the pit lane, serving some sort of penalty or just replacing his front wing.
I mean, what an interesting restart that was. I mean, Nick chose to go so late, but he's got the jump on V-Flow now. So Nick is just going to be out in front at the minute, but obviously he tried to do it for the team, I think. Like you mentioned, he's going to have to work with Danestar, but Danestar's still under attack from Quaze. See Rimp as well, who managed to get a really nice lap in qualifying, actually, but Quaze has gone really, really deep there. And I'm just wondering whether Rimp could have had a little run there, but that spray, you just see at the back, the spray is really coming off these cars now as they come to the braking zone, and that spray just gets ever worse. Seems to be getting wetter and wetter around Canada. The rain is just not letting up. But I think people are too far back at the minute, and without DRS, it's all about slip, but slip only gains you about a tenth. But talking about a tenth, that's what key is. Key SF1 is to Tom A. Will he make a move going into the chicane? He's underfueled his car for the wet conditions, assuming there's a safety car, but he's having to back out of that one. He got his car side by side, but didn't get the move done there. But a little wobble off the exit there, and I think there was a car. There's a car it's made contact. There's more yellow flags. Is that the McLaren of Riley?
McLaren of Riley, who is sideways coming out of the chicane and has a bit of front wing damage, it looks like. But looking further up the field, Verheyen did have a run on White Fountain into turn 1 or 2 it looked like, but nothing's come of that. He's still sitting about 4 times behind that Alpha Tauri. No moves being made as of yet in this top group, but Rimpey is sitting about 3 or 4 times behind the Ferrari of Quaze, who's still hunting down Danestar ahead of him. Well, really, really interesting so far, but Verheyen, a bit of a gap now to White Fountain, but Danestar still just stuck behind Verheyen for now. But that battle with the Ferrari of Quaze, Danestar got a really nice run, in fact, on Verheyen. He got a much tighter line through that hairpin there. He's got a nice run, but Verheyen just sticking ahead for now. But it's too far back to get any moves done. Without a DRS, it is going to be hard. You have to really be brave and make sure that the other driver is compliant, because if you try and go too wide, the guy on the outside can potentially get squeezed on the wall, and if you're on the inside, there could be contact and you're into the left-hand side wall, so it's definitely risky going for a move there in Sector 3. Yeah, just straight. I think the Haas of Verheyen may be running a slightly lower downforce setup compared to the others around him, because that Haas looks a little bit more slippery down the straight compared to that Mercedes behind him and the Alpha Tauri in front of him. So Verheyen looking to be a little bit of a threat down the straights, but I will compromise him through the corners, and a circuit like Canada with a lot of medium speed corners is going to compromise you quite a bit, that lack of downforce.
I think we can see that on Verheyen's car. It is really wobbling, but something that I've just picked up on, speaking to the drivers beforehand, but that's Payne's actually, I was going to make a point, but Payne's is trying to get a move done on Reflow, he's had to back out, but it's really wobbling that car, the rear end's always stepping away from Payne's. I noticed that in qualifying as well, but what I was going to say before is, the drivers beforehand were speaking about rivalries, and one that was mentioned was between Scorpion and Corey, who are also battling for 14th at the minute. Definitely keep your eyes on that one at the back of the, well, it's not toward, it's the midfield technically, but Corey's actually picked up a 3 seconds. Speaking of him, just going over, I'm guessing that is going over the curb there for the World Champions, trying to get a better line through, but it's very easy to pick up 3 seconds. They do accumulate obviously at the end of the race.
Yeah, looking a bit further down in the field, you have Martin, who had the quali ban on the back of Lukey now. Lukey was saying in the chat before the race that he hasn't done any wet practice whatsoever, so he is a bit out of practice for the wet conditions, so Martin could take advantage of that, but that Williams is sliding quite a lot there, so he's not going to get it done now. He's going to have to get it done out of the hairpin really. but he's just struggling with the back end. Both Williams are really struggling as he has passed Thomas there on the run to the hairpin.
Yeah, pretty basic move there for Keys. I don't know what it was. I mean, I think that Tommy just pulled to the side for him, but perhaps that's just they don't want to get Tommy doesn't want to lose any time because Key obviously has that penalty. He doesn't want to lose any time battling him, but. Looking back up to the front, 2 tenths separate Paynes and Reflow, but Paynes' car, both Williams seem to be wobbling. I don't know what it is, maybe it's a setup or they're just getting their foot down a bit too early, but they seem to be really, really wobbly, the rear end off the off most corners here, and there we go again for Paynes. He's having to steer, like almost counter steer the car constantly.
Here, but we could have a bit of a battle here possibly between Verheyen, Whitefountain and Deinstar at the moment. Verheyen looked to have the run on Whitefountain into turn 1. Got the switch back, but tapped the rear of the Alpha Tauri in front of him through turn 2, and it's really compromised him there, not being able to get the move done. But he is trying to use his straight line speed to his advantage to pull away from Deinstar behind, but Dane is sticking there on the back of that hat for now, as this battle looks to be one heating up at the moment. As Paynes is trying to go round the outside of Reflow through the hairpin now.
He tries to get that move done twice now at the exact same place, but Paynes has nearly lost it. Every corner he's having to counter steer. That car just seems to be slipping away. I wonder whether he's running a really low downforce setup or what it is. Maybe it's a dry, but it's definitely low downforce. Look how much time he's gaining in the straights. I mean, Reflow, he's picked up a 3-second now. These top 3 yet to pick. Corey past his rival of Scorpion, but they're having a battle here through the World Champions. Oh, Corey's in the wall! Corey's in the wall, he's got damage! Scorpion and Corey. I don't know whether Scorpion's got any damage, but Corey tried to get the move done, tried to go side by side, and like I said before, it's so difficult to go side by side, especially in the web. But Corey back down the inside of Scorpion, more contact. Oh my word, these two won't let up, but Scorpion straight back at him. But damage for Corey, and like I said, I predicted it. It's so hard to go side by side, and the move has not paid off there. I mean, I think he felt he had to get it done so he didn't get stuck behind him, but he tried to go for it, but squeezed into the wall, and that is. It's going to be difficult for Corey to come back now, that safety car.
Yeah, I think, well, considering how chaotic it's been so far, I wouldn't be too surprised if we do see ourselves a safety car later in this race. I'm still watching over the battle between Verheyen and Whitefountain and Dane. Whitefountain gets a better run out of the hairpin than Verheyen, but Verheyen just has so much better straight line speed. Dane's just sitting behind Verheyen and patiently waiting for that Haas driver to make a mistake or to get a good enough run on him, as Verheyen has this ERS set to overtake, but he's not really close enough to make any sort of move on Whitefountain, who's looked to have closed up on Dundabore in front of him. So Nick really starting to bunch up the field maybe, although he has got over a second gap to Reflow behind, so really it is Red Bull of Reflow that's really starting this train, really. It's starting the train here, not Nick.
Yeah, this gives Nick now the opportunity to branch away. Didn't pit under safety cars, so with those 10 lap old inters, only 1 lap older, but I think he did qualifying on them. No, he didn't, because I think he set his time on the soft, so they would have been fresh inters, I presume, for Nick. But Dave picked up a 3-second. Oh my, that could be crucial for the Verheyen's race. No, he's gone for the move. It's so late for Deinstar. He's asking a lot from Verheyen here, but let's go side by side. One overtake this will be for Deinstar. If he gets it done, Verheyen's car. There's real bang in between the two of them. They kept on the track. They're still going side by side now into the chicane. It's going to be Verheyen on the outside. Dane really with a late lunge on Verheyen. I think he's got the move done. He does. What a move for Deinstar. More contact though between the two of them, but oh, drama.
Yeah, late lunge from Dane there. I think he's got fed up of sitting and waiting for that Haas to make a move on the Alpha Tower in front of him, and thought, sod it, I need to get past now or I'm going to be stuck here for a while. And he's already gaining on the back of the Alpha Tower in front.
Oh my, what that was That was something else there. Dane with a really late lunge, but he made it work. I mean, it wasn't dirty, so I'm sure that was a fantastic overtake for Dane there. He's got, with that 3 second now, he's got
on the back of
yeah,
White
no.
Fountain.
That car of White Fountain as well, just drifting. You see the back end there, just sloping away from him. I think it's still raining quite hard here, so I think that may be. Well, obviously it's a big factor, but it's why I think a lot of cars. No, he's not going for the exact same thing. On
Surely not. He's sending it. He's sending it. He's up the inside. Contact is made, pushing the AlphaTauri wide. A little loss in the back end there from Dane, and White Fountain is back path, but ERS back active now. He's gonna have to do it into turn 1.
Oh my! Well, Dane has gone for the exact same move twice there. The first time was nice. Second time didn't work out. Nick into the pits. Key picking up another 3 second, but he's using that ERS. Well, not conserve. It's the opposite of conserving it. He's really pushing now. He's got to catch up to Don, who's obviously provisionally leading this race. So he's got to catch up to him and bridge a 3 second now. But for Heinen, we'll be looking at this and knowing Dane is not desperate, but he wants to get the move done as soon as he can. So Heinen may just be sitting comfortable at the minute, waiting for a mistake perhaps from Dane or another move like that on White Fountain and just capitalise. Because like we established, always Dane nearly lost the car there. Like we established, we think Heinen is running a much lower downforce to the likes of Dane and White Fountain.
Yeah, I think Dane could be lining up another lunge into the hairpin. Surely he's not gonna.
He is. Look at his ERS.
Lunge again. Here he goes. He's much closer this time. He's gonna lunge up the inside. White Fountain gives them the space this time.
There's contact between two of them.
Dane lost the back end a bit.
Watch for Heinen. Watch for Heinen. Heинen's getting him full now. Are they going 3 wide? Surely not. It's a bit of wheel bashing. Oh, he's trying to. No, if it goes down the inside here, oh, I'm going to lose my voice. He hasn't. He's backed out. Oh, what a move that was! Like I said with Verheyen, he's done exactly what I was speaking about the lap before.
Here he goes.
Is he going for a move?
Surely, if you want to get past now, you're gonna have to send it.
It's not gone there, but White Fountain a bit out of shapes now. I'm back in sliding away, but Verheyen's got to be careful. We saw Dane getting past him I think it was 3 laps ago now. Dane's gone for that move consecutively 3 laps. It worked once, it hasn't worked twice now, so will Dane continue to make the move done? It's going to be interesting. Obviously when he did make it done, he got it on Verheyen.
Very close to the Haas in front of him, so wouldn't be surprised if we see another lunge here from Dane. He certainly is close enough. It'll be all down to his exit off at this chicane. Got the run.
What's it like? Oh, it is nice. It is nice for Dane. He's not using any ERS.
He's not using ERS, so he's not going to go for it this lap. I think he's being a bit more patient this time around. Looking ahead, White Fountain seems to go very wide on exit of the hairpin. Same with Verheyen, who has his ERS set to overtake, and he's trying to catch up to the AlphaTauri in front of him. Very close to the World Champions. Oh
yeah, I didn't notice that. White Fountain. I wonder whether his tyres are going off, but he's very, very deep in a lot of corners, and I do notice now there's a bit of a dry line starting to form on lap 15 here. So we should see. I think that was Quay's going really deep there. But
having a bit of a tank slapper there on the exit of turn 2.
Does he have any damage?
No, it was just. He caught the car before anything major could really happen. Just a bit of a slide. Nothing too major.
That gives Danestar all the confidence you'd assume though. If he's seen Verheyen slide about the track, he's going to be feeling confident now, and he's 3/10 away, but that straight line speed of Verheyen's car just allows him to bridge that gap when it's most important.
Is lining up Vitinho now. He's going to get the move done into the chicane here. At the end of sector 2, nice easy move up the inside from Paynes there. Gets the move done on White Fountain's teammate Vitinho and the other AlphaTauri.
Good move for Paynes there. He's got now up into P12. He pit just a few laps ago, so Good for him, but look at Vahina, and he closed up massively. White Fountain's in. White Fountain's in, so they're now going to have to, you'd assume Vahinen and Damestar now will push to try and close that gap to Don. They've got one mandatory stop left. Past that is their choice. On lap 16 now, you'd assume it is going to be a 2-stop, of course, with these guys pitting within, I'd say, lap 20. So another 4 laps potentially. Be interesting to see whether anyone goes for an undercut though, especially Damestar, because Damestar may feel he's got the pace on these guys and he could make the undercut work, so that's definitely going to be interesting to see if he goes for that. But Key is closing up.
Just want to draw your attention, I think you might have noticed it there, a battle that's really flown under the radar a bit is Key on the back of Quace in the Ferrari here. So this could be the next big battle here as Key closes up there. Is he close enough to have a move into the hairpin? He certainly is. He's got his overtake mode activated. He's not close enough really. He's going to have to get it done into the chicane, but Damestar's all over the back of Vahinen again.
Oh.
Spicy up at the front at the moment as Martin is on the back of Key and Quace's battle.
Martin from the back is sitting in 6th. That is fantastic so far for the Williams, but Vahinen has picked up a 3-second. So Don now and Quace will be confident that they can get this podium. Perhaps we could see Martin on the podium as well. Pit window now open, it says, for the 1-stop. Obviously it could be open for the 2-stop as well. A few drivers taking that option as well. Little slide for Martin there, but Key has got 9 seconds of penalties. It's what I checked on. 9 seconds, that'll push him back a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem for him as Nick is closing up onto the back of Vitinho in his AlphaTauri. So this could be the next move to be made. Nick eyeing up 8th place at the moment as Dana's dropping back from the Haas in front of him. Key continues to just hunt for that Ferrari in front of him. He's doing enough to stay ahead for now. He's close enough now if he gets a good enough run off the hairpin.
He's had a wobble off there though, so you'd assume not. But what I want to pick up on, Paynes, sitting in 7th at the minute, does have a penalty, but 7th with fresh inters. Oh, that was late for Key. Nearly went sailing to the back of Quace there, but Damestar getting undercut. Oh, nearly broke my voice there. Damestar getting undercut done. So is Martin. So Martin, probably one of the favourites now to pick up a podium from the back of the grid, is Pitt as well. If they get stuck in traffic, this could go horribly wrong. Where does Damestar come out? It might be Tomei might get past him. No, he's come out ahead of Tomei, so I forgot he had a weird pit exit there, but Tomei might come out ahead. He's come out ahead of Martin. Oh, that's not great for Martin, who's also under pressure from Rimp. Rimp's backed out though, so now Don and Vahinen and Quace are all going to be, you presume, reacting to that undercut attempt now.
Yeah, certainly, but Nick's still chasing down the AlphaTauri of Vitinho in front of him. He's got yellow flags now.
Riley's on softs.
That's an odd call. I don't think Riley might be racing at the moment. I think it could be his AI.
They're into the pits. They are into the pits. Oh, there's a Salty Bear round. It's not gone well for him today. He's got wing damage. So impressive in the pre-season race, but he hasn't been at the races.
In the 5th place.
He hasn't been at the races.
The man who was leading the race not that long ago is back up to P2 now, behind Paynes. So Nick still doing very well here, I have to say.
Yeah, Nick, no pens.
Ahead of his teammate again, so Dundabor stuck behind Reflow.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting thing there with Don stuck behind Reflow. I mean, you'd assume Reflow, because Don was leading this race, would let him pass. I mean, if he doesn't, now that'll be a talking point. I think he's pulled off the side there, but I think Don's going to be using his ERS. He wants to get past. He's too far back there. You assume it's now going to be done on the main straight for the Red Bull, because Reflow will now probably be staying out a bit longer, trying to hold up the Heinen and Danestar. But Key with 12 seconds now, Pence, but Scorpion picking up a 3 second, down in 15th at the minute, but not the greatest exit for Don. So if he wants to get past his teammate here, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. No, it's definitely not going to happen here. But
Corey and Salty Bear having a bit of an exchange.
Oh, they're teammates as well.
Not much, I think it's just Corey going through.
Oh, Corey's an AR, well, he's disconnected, I assume.
Yes, I believe it is. There's Don DeBoer still on the back of his teammate, trying to find any gap he can to get past. His teammate's just parking it in the middle of the road, and White Fountain's just right on the back of them. If you've got yellow flags in sector 2 and 3, and I believe it's both the Renaults going slowly at the moment, as Martin picks up a penalty now.
Oh, that could change everything. Martin picking up a penalty. The podium's now wide open. None is. What you'd assume Don, unless he gets involved in an incident, is looking at the opening race win with 15 laps to go. But he's going to have to get past his teammate, because that gap is closing from behind him. You see White Fountain and Danestar just in his wing mirrors there, the AlphaTauri and Mercedes, and even Vahinam. So it's got to be careful, the Red Bulls, that they don't get each other's way too much. But contact between Danestar and White Fountain, but the front wing of Danestar remains intact. But if he goes to move on White Fountain here, no, he's too far back. He did put his ERS on, but White Fountain with a lot more ERS than Danestar, no penalties.
White Fountain does have a bit of a run on Don DeBoer, but I don't think he's close enough to make a move just yet. No, not close enough to make a move for the podium, but it's put him off balance there, and Dane behind will be hunting for him. He's just so slow. The Mercedes are pushing through the corner almost. Vitinho and Scorpion are now ahead of Reflow. These two could be having a bit of a battle now shortly, but going back to the front of the field. Key is up the inside of Vahanen.
Oh, watch Vahanen. Oh, he's touched the grass. But Key with a lot of penalties. Oh, I don't think Vahanen will be best pleased, but Danestar closing up to the back of White Fountain. The rain has not let up the entire race, so a lot of drivers have picked up the penalties. And if you don't have a penalty, you are looking strong to move up. There is yellow flags. Oh, it goes from bad to worse for Riley. But you know, though he might not get points today, it's just got to dust yourself down and go again next week. You can't let, you know, one round decide your entire season. You just got to keep the motivation and the passion to carry on and just pick up consistent results from here on in, because I think everyone we can expect to slip up at least a few times this season, as Nick is Nick into the pit. So Paynes has got a 8-second lead now. If he extends that, he'll be looking strong. How many warnings does Don have, do you know?
I will check for you while you focus on the action. I'm going to look at Don, and he has 2 warnings at the moment. He's not far off the penalty.
That's tight. That is tight. Yeah, I mean, if he gets a penalty, Danestar is right back in it. I thought I was him for a minute. If he does get a penalty, Danestar, White Fountain are right back at him. I mean, White Fountain, I don't know if he has to pit again. I'm just going to check that, actually. He does. So White Fountain isn't competing for the race win here, but he's looking strong. He's keeping Danestar behind, which is interesting, because although he has to pit again, he has shown really good pace, White Fountain. And
yeah,
no, carry on.
Just got slips. I think he's got slipstream of Don DeBoer ahead, maybe, or just a lower downforce that's kept him ahead of the Mercedes. So Dane might need to go for a lunge like he did at the hairpin, maybe, if he wants to get past.
Yeah, it'd be interesting because obviously he tried it twice on White Fountain and neither worked. But oh, Dane has caught it beautifully there. I mean, that was heading towards the left-hand side of the wall, but he has closed up massively. If he goes down the inside here, he's having a little look of White Fountain. I assume he's going to try and get the tighter line, get the better run on White Fountain. He is. That White Fountain's car though is just so slow in that corner there. I mean, Dane's having to push him along constantly through that corner of turn, I believe that is turn 2, so he's always having to push him along there, but that compromises him for the rest of, well, up until the hairpin, but he has closed up again, so the gap to pains for Don is coming down. Don picks up a penalty. He's going to have to be careful here because he could still be caught by Danestar and Key, although Key with lots of penalties.
No, he's very close to the back of the Alpha Tower. Surely he's going to have to go for the move now. He's turned off overtake. He's not going out for it. I think he's trying to get the better. He's locked up massively. Look at White Fountain now. He locked up both front tyres, so he just went absolutely flying off into the distance, but he's managed to do well to recover it. But Dane is just too far back constantly, but he's got to be patient because he doesn't want to throw away his race, of course. Yeah, he's got Key sitting in the background ready to take advantage of any mistake from these two. White Fountain tapping the World Champions there on exit with his rear tyres. Dane's still struggling to get past the AlphaTauri. Not sure what's going on there.
Oh, he closed up again. I mean, White Fountain seems to be really struggling in Sector 1. I mean, it seems like Dane has always got the run on him, but then, because I think he's running that lower downforce, he just breaks it down the biggest straight here. And yeah, it just seems impossible for Dane to get past, but this is doing Don the world of good. In fact, he will be delighted if White Fountain can carry on what he's doing while he catches pains. I mean, Don is in a fantastic position now to capitalise, but Dane again, he's got the run on White Fountain. He's got his ERS on. Could we see it yet again from Dane? He's gone for it numerous times. He is gonna go for it down the inside. I mean, that's White Fountain going really deep. Look at Key now. Look at Key. Could he get the run on White Fountain as well? KSF1's nearly 80%, but there's a VSC. There's a VSC. I think that is a McLaren of Riley in the wall. I'm not sure what happened there, but a VSC has been called.
Yeah, but I just want to go back to Dane and White Fountain there. It looked a bit controversially, like White Fountain saw him coming and moved over under brakes, so I'd have to see that back, but I'd say White Fountain maybe moved over on the under braking there on Dane, so I would probably take that to the stewards just to be safe.
Yeah, I did notice that, but I don't want to comment on it just in case it was incorrect. But yeah, I mean, it is a bit controversial, but I mean, he's also picked up a drive-through now, so that's really him out the point, any chance of points he had, really. He can be really far back right now, so it's a big lot to ask. But I mean, Dane's had a really poor VSC restart, or perhaps it was Key with a fantastic VSC restart, but sliding for the McLaren, he's had to save it, catch it, but the Heinen's caught now a lot, but yeah, I mean, that was a big slide for the McLaren of KSF1, who does have so many penalties. 12 seconds, as you can see there. Tom A with 9 as well. So, I think
maybe on Toma.
Where is it? There we go.
Lining up. It's not close enough. Maybe you have to get it done into turn 1. Looking ahead, you've got the train of Dane, Key and Verheyen.
Yep.
Just trailing around behind Don de Boer, not really closing in at all.
So every driver has now done the 2-stop. Riley's done the 6-stop at the back there. So interesting there. But KSF1 up 13 places. What a drive it's been from him. But with those amount of penalties, it's going to be tough to see. He said this was his least favourable track in the pre-race interviews, I believe. But was it? No, actually, he said it was one of his worst. So Singapore, he mentioned was his worst. But this is a least favourable one for KSF1. But doesn't appear so far. 13 places, fantastic drive so far. Martin as well from the back of the grid, up 12 into 7th place. And oh yeah, I have noticed that he's going side by side with Paynes. Paynes with the inside line now. He's going to want to get it done here. It's going to be close. It is done. Nice move for Paynes.
It's not over yet. Down the back straight. Cromwell with his ERS. Burning through all of that overtake mode, but Paynes just has a bit more straight line speed. It looks like he picks up another penalty there.
And Dane. So Dane's chances of a podium, but look at Verheyen now, down the inside of Key. Oh, he's managed to avoid contact with the rear left, but he's going to have a better line than Key. Still really close, but 15 seconds for Key and 6 for Danestar. So where would that leave him if Paynes could potentially pick up a podium here? But Martin as well. All these drivers are in with a shot. Don now with a 2-second lead, looking very, very strong for the round 1 win. He'll be delighted with that, but Verheyen, the 2 drivers ahead of him have a lot of pens, so he doesn't have to get past, but obviously it's nicer to get done on track. He's got 3 seconds to his name, Verheyen, so does Paynes, so does Martin. So Quays actually, with no penalties, could move up lots of positions. In fact, could actually potentially, if he really puts in a few fantastic last stint here, have a little look at the podium. So it could, like we said before, it could be decided on penalties and just exceeding track limits, as I think that is Luca getting past Tom A there. No, he's still going side by side, Tom A. He battled all the way before. He doesn't like letting up, Tom A. Always battles, but he's had to concede that one to Luca.
Yeah, look, not much else going on track apart from Toma and Luki at the moment, but both Alphas on to score points at the moment, so a good result for them.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic for them.
The closest guys on track at the moment would be Verheyen and Key, so I'll have to pay attention here as Verheyen trying to do everything he can to keep up with that McLaren ahead of him.
So you have to be careful though, he doesn't want to pick up a penalty, because if he does that could cost him a lot after the race. But Quays is looking really, really strong here, perhaps with no penalties, but the gap has come down a little bit, and I think that is Riley who chose to go on the softs again into the pits. Tom A into the pits. If it has stopped raining. It stopped raining. I mean, if it dries up, well, that could completely turn the tide here. I think it's definitely too early now to go on to the softs, because look at this breaking with the cars, but another 3 laps or so could be soft tyres. I mean, I don't think any driver will pit for softs because of the only handful of laps left, but definitely going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how quickly the track really dries out, as Dane's caught up a bit to Don the Boar at the moment, but not much else going on currently. I think these guys are just patiently waiting for the dry tyres to really come, for DRS to be enabled so they can all crowd pit for their slick tyres.
Scorpion picking up a 3-second. I mean, when does it go dry? This is going to be, you know, really, really important to get it right now. This is where it all counts. Like, if they get the timing wrong, there's no yellow flags. I think that is Corey in the wall. It is definitely a Renault, and I'm just going to check, 'cause that has been going on for a while now. Oh no, I think it was a Salty Bear. Not a good day at the office for a Salty Bear, but he's going to have to come back big, you know, be stronger next week. But that was Verheyen losing the car massively, and the DRS straight is definitely drying up. Those inters, I think, are still optimal for now, but if we watch, I'm just going to keep an eye on the Tom A and see if he closes up to White Fountain, because if he does, I think we could see with 5 laps left a really interesting calling strategy here.
Yeah, I think Toma's going to be the guinea pig for the rest of the field, if dry tyres are ready or not, and judging by him going through that that chicane there, they're definitely not ready. Understeering massively wide But Dane got the gap down to about 1.2 seconds now. So the Mercedes man is really turning on the pace now. Closing up to the Red Bull in front of him. But Paynes is on the back of Vahanen now. Will he make the move into the chicane? He's lining it up, he thinks better.
Ooh, too far back. I think, has it started raining again? I think I heard raindrops, no. I think it was just the spray coming off Vahanen's tyres, but yeah, the spray is a lot, but that's Payne's down the inside of Vahanen. He's really, actually a lot of Vahanen there, they're still going side by side. Vahanen sticking ahead for now, trying to come straight back at him, though it's Payne's, but he's had to concede that one, but definitely optimistic for Payne's. I mean, that hairpin corner seems to be a very favourable one for overtakes so far this race.
Yeah, it's very popular overtaking spot at the moment.
Oh!
Dainstar's picked up another penalty, so that could probably be his hopes of the race win gone bye-bye now.
I think that has relieved a little bit of pressure off Don. He'd have 6 seconds before that, and now up to 9. So that is Dane's podium hope sort of chucked away, really, on track limits there, which is a shame, because he did close up that gap massively to Don, and for that you can only give him credit because Don has been so strong during this race, still with no penalties though. But that opens up opportunities for a driver like Paynes and Vahanen to get this podium come the end of the race.
Yeah, I think Clays could be in the mix possibly if he just close up a bit more on that Ferrari. The track really starting to dry now. I don't think it'll be too long before we're seeing few dry runners, but the question will be whether or not you want to take your intermediates to the end and risk them overheating, or come in for the dry tyres and see how quickly you can catch up.
Yep, definitely. I mean, if you make the call now to go on the softs, you've got, well, what will be 4 laps. No, if I got that right, 32. So, I don't know, roughly 4 laps. Yeah, right. 3 laps. Oh, I'm awful. Yeah, ignore that. 3 laps to catch up a massive amount of time. So you are seriously asking a lot, and I think
in the pits,
Lukey, he's made
keep an eye out what tyres he's on.
If he goes on softs, that's bold. It is softs for Lukey. He was in the points. He was in the points, but he's opted to go on the softs. I mean, he thinks that he could probably capitalise and get more points, but he's got to pass a lot of drivers now, and is relying on people picking up, you know, a lot of. I mean, it's definitely soft, I think. Although looking at it, I'm not sure, because I'm on board with Dane at the minute, and I still see spray coming off Don's car.
Your flag set to 3 hairpin. I think it's Riley again. Yeah, he's going slowly. He's been trundling around on those softs for a while. I don't even think it's him, it's his AI. As Dainstar is on the back of Don DeBoer now. They've got very little ERS remaining, he's only got 6% left.
Ooh, and
chicane's right on the back of him.
As if you want low ERS, I mean, Payne's had 0 coming down the main straight. He's desperate to get past Vahanen because he knows this P2 is in sight due to penalties with lap 33 now. This is where it's all hotting up.
As Martin is in. He's in for soft.
Martin, he's in. He had a 4th place. I mean, it's an interesting call, but I don't know whether that's the correct one, because with the laps counting down, Martin is going to have to do a lot there. And that's Don and Dainstar going side by side at the front. Oh, that got really close between 2 drivers there. And Dane still trying to come back at him. DRS enabled. Oh my. This could now mean that Dane gets past Don on track. Of course, with penalties though, you'd assume that Dom will still win this race if he doesn't pick up a 3 second, but that's Dane locking up that front right all the way there, dragging it across the floor, but he's got a head. Wheel bashing between 2 of them though, and there's more wheel bashing, and there's all out of shape there for Dainstar. Don, I think, who's got the DRS? It's Dainstar with DRS. That's, I mean, it just looks like it's too wet because of the spray, but he's got past, but there's contact, it's Don's round. I don't believe it. I do not believe it.
controversy in Precision 2 ending to the race.
Oh my god.
Dane cutting right across that Red Bull there.
I don't believe it.
So, that's going to the stewards for sure, and I think Dane will be in big trouble for that.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Don, he's picked up another 3-second Dane. It doesn't matter really, because Don, I was saying that his race win was in his hands, but it's been snatched away from him. I don't know really what Don could have done there, but Lukey set the fastest lap, but I do not believe it. Like you said, controversy around Canada.
Dropped back.
Does Dane hit the wall? I'm not sure what's happening here. Whether he's
puncture.
Does he really?
I think he does. He wouldn't be going that slow.
He does. He done back right. Dane has damage and a puncture.
Karma has struck the Mercedes driver after swiping the Red Bull in the last chicane. He's got a rear right puncture.
But I mean, this now means coming to the final lap. I just want to check penalties, because if it is equal, Verheyen and Paynes are looking at the race win here. Verheyen and Paynes, they have 3 seconds each. Don's 1.5 behind. Oh, it's late braking from Paynes. He's going to have to get it done though. Keep holding up Verheyen. Oh, here we go. This is where it hots up Paynes on his race back. He didn't do pre-season, but he could be going for the race when he goes down the inside of Verheyen. Down the inside. Verheyen's got a nice, really nice line around the outside. Sticks ahead for now. Payne's still trying to hook it around the outside. Still trying to get the move done. Last lap now. This is where it all counts. He's going to have to go for it. Surely not there. No, backs out of that one. Could be now. He's looking at the hairpin. But keys out. There's contact with Verheyen's car. Oh my word. There's contact with Paynes' car as well. Is Paynes going down the inside? He is. Paynes down the inside of Verheyen. I don't believe it. Paynes has now lost it. He's just saved it. He could have gifted this Verheyen now. Verheyen now has it inside. But look, Don's caught up. All this battle, I mean, Don has caught up. I don't believe it. Don.
Quace is on the back of him as well. So if Quace keeps us up, he could be on for a podium here.
Don, we thought the race win was snatched away from him after that incident with Dane, but he's stuck at him. Oh, I don't believe it. What an end.
He's going to have to send it into the chicane now if he wants to beat Verheyen on track.
Go on.
Here we go, lining up.
Go on, Paynes. Here we go. This is unbelievable. Coming into the last few corners.
Well.
Here he goes.
He's got a puncture. Verheyen has a puncture on his back left. Back left puncture for the Haas of Verheyen there.
Don
comes down now.
It's
drag race to the line.
Don's done it. Don's done it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Quace's got a podium. Oh my god. I don't believe it. What has happened? What? I'm in shock. I don't know what's happened, to be honest. This is unbelievable. I think Martin's picked up a 10-second somewhere. He's lost his whole front wing, Martin. He finishes 8th. But Don, after having that win we thought snatched away from him so cruelly, he's pulled back. I mean, that must be the most push lap he's ever done. Dane Starr setting the fastest lap. Finished 12th after that puncture. But Verheyen's tyres just blew up at the last corner, and then now the drag race, the line, Don and Payne. Don just got his nose ahead, but unbelievable in the opener. This sets it up massively now for the rest of the season. What a first round that was, Liam.
I don't think we could have got much better than that. That's one of the best races that I've ever seen.
Oh my.
Without a doubt, that is one of the best races I've ever seen. Like the craziness, the mentalness that has gone on there from start to finish, really, it's just beyond mental at this point.
I don't believe it.
I'm baffled. Dane swipes the Red Bull, then Karma strikes Dane with a rear right puncture. Then on the final lap, Verheyen gets a puncture on his rear left going down the back straight towards the last chicane. And to top it all off, a drag race to the finish line.
I don't believe it. Seriously, that was fantastic. I mean, I'm going to have to ask you your driver of the day. I mean, I know mine for sure, but now to you, who is your driver of the day?
I'm not sure if you've picked this guy or not, but I'm going to go with Don and the Red Bull.
Yeah, that was mine as well.
And, well then, I'm going to have to ask you yours, and you're going to have to pick someone else. Who's it going to be?
I'm going to have to go for Paynes then. From 14th on the grid, up into 2nd place. I mean, my question to Paynes would be, how did you feel in that battle with Verheyen, and then seeing him get the puncture at the end? How was that battle for you? I mean, that was a fantastic battle. I mean, yeah, it's tough to put into words. For Paynes, the question would be, that was a fantastic battle between you and Verheyen. Did you feel you just had the edge on him at the end there? I mean, what would your question for Don be?
My question for Don would be, do you believe in karma? If so, do you believe it is truly on your side after the incident with Dane into the last chicane?
Oh, I don't believe it. That was unbelievable racing. Don picking up the first round victory. Paynes from 14th on the grid, fantastic for him. Quace, he was I think it was on 8th, but with 0 penalties, fantastic for him, getting 3rd place behind him with a last lap puncture on the last few corners. Just agonisingly close to beating Paynes, but it didn't happen in the end. Scorpion, after having that tangle with Corey, of course, his rival we established from the interviews, picking up 5th place, fantastic for him. Nick in 6th, Lukey 7th, Martin 8th, Reflow 9th, and that's all I managed to get. But what a chaotic end that was to the first round, Liam.
I'm lost for words at that. I don't think we're going to get a better race than that this season. I think we've already had the race of the season across every tier. Nothing is coming close to that, and that is a statement. That is my prediction, that nothing is going to come close to that race, especially this season. And it's only the first round.
Oh, I don't believe it. I mean, that last lap there, you saw 3 drivers all going at it, but that last, I mean, you got a puncture. What sort of timing was that for Verheyen? So unfortunate. But Don from the back of the grid with the drag to the line as well, unbelievable. But I think that concludes round 1. What a race. Unbelievable. I mean, unless you have anything else to add, Liam. Neither do I. But please do join us next week for round 2. It's, well, if anything, going to be like, if this doesn't interest you after that race, I don't know what will. But I'll see you all next week, everyone. Goodbye.